Hello and welcome to our viewers from around the world. I'm Kristen Schwartz, licensed midwife and MC here at Gold Learning. And today I'm here with Lisa Mazzoni, and we're here to chat about her upcoming presentation for us here at Gold. Welcome, Lina.
Hi,
It's wonderful to have you here.
thank you. It's great to be here.
So, Lina, tell us a little bit, where in the world are you? I know you're in a place close to where I grew up. So
I'm in Hamburg, the best city in Germany.
best city in Germany. I have to agree because I'm also from the north. Don't say that, because tell that to our viewers from the south of Germany or the central area. But yeah, it's a beautiful city
Yeah.
there as well. Wonderful. So let's talk a little bit about you. Let's find out what is it that you do. I know that you are a speech and language therapist as well as an
Right.
IBCLC. So tell us a little bit about your background and your work.
Okay, so I used to work just as an speech and language therapist, and I always been working with kids. And after a few years, I started to work more with babies and toddlers. And it came up that I had kids who had difficulties with swallowing and feeding. And so I had more moms in the practice that had issues with breastfeeding. So that's when I started to educate myself more about breastfeeding and everything. And that's how it started to my way to becoming an IBCLC, to connect speech and language therapy and breastfeeding.
That's a wonderful combination. So it is interesting how it developed, right? Because when you started out as a speech and language therapist, you didn't necessarily think of becoming an
No.
IBCL and going that route, right?
No, I had kids from the age 2 to 5 mostly,
Hmm.
and mostly with speech and language disorders.
Yeah.
So they had problems communicating, like using the right words, or with the grammar, or um, using the right sounds speaking, or even coming into communication. So they
Hmm.
never looked at somebody. But especially after the birth of my first son, swallowing and feeding just became more and more interesting and became more relevant to me.
Hmm. And also seeing that connection there, I think that must have been like a light bulb moment, right? Where you're looking at this going, oh my goodness, how is this? Oh, of course, this is connected somehow, right? I mean, that must have been this huge um, moment
Uh,
of going, this is so
right.
incredibly useful having that background that you have when it comes to breast and chest feeding.
And the funny thing is, it has always been a question when I was talking to the parents.
Hmm.
So, have you been breastfeeding? How long have you been breastfeeding?
Hmm.
Did you use a bottle or pacifier? What kind? But there it stopped, even in the questionnaire. Or
Hmm.
what I've learned before in my education, it kind of stopped there. It was just the question, and everybody knew it was kind of relevant, but not in which way.
Interesting. Yeah. So in your education, you didn't really, yeah, you had the questionnaire, that's the standard questions you ask the families, the
Right.
parents, but there was no, okay, now what? What do we do with this
Right.
knowledge, right?
It was everybody was saying like, yeah, it's good, and it's the best, like
Hmm.
breastfeeding, and especially when it comes to development of the mouth and everything. But yeah, we stopped there. And even when it comes to feeding and swallowing, um when you're breastfeeding, you have these two people, the baby and the mother, and we
Hmm.
could take care of the baby, but not we won't be able to take care of the mother.
Right, right.
So there was always something missing.
Yeah. The missing part there, and
Right.
and yeah, and then you came in and kind of connected the dots and kind of made this an holistic approach
Yeah.
as well. That's wonderful. Now let's talk about your presentation here. It's titled Breastfeeding as a Prevention Strategy for Speech and Language Disorders. I find that fascinating, looking at this from the other side, not only how can a speech and language therapist help with breastfeeding, but also how can breastfeeding then in
Right.
comparison help with as a preventative strategy. That's a fantastic approach. So tell us a little more about that.
I've always been a fan of prevention
Hmm.
because why should we let something get worse when we could prevent it?
Right.
And it's the same when we had these kids. They were sent when they were 4, but maybe if they have been in the practice when they have been 2,
Hmm.
we could have fixed it before and it wouldn't have been gotten that worse. So
Yeah.
why not start even earlier,
Right.
like being a baby? And when there are breastfeeding issues, it's not well, the first thing that's important is that the mother and what she wants, and if she wants
Hmm.
to breastfeed and how she wants to feed her baby.
Hmm.
But if we think a bit further, thinking about what we can prevent by helping the mother to breastfeed her baby, that maybe the development of the mouth and everything is better or
Hmm.
might be better, or especially when it comes to kids who are sick,
Hmm.
with heart conditions, with syndromes or something like this.
Right.
Uh, if we start there, the development really can take a boost.
Fantastic. Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. I can't wait to find out more about this, because it really is a great concept, preventing before something starts, before,
Mm,
or even, that's amazing. So, we can may possibly avoid a lot of problems and issues down the road if we get started well, in a good place right away.
right.
So that's absolutely fantastic. Lina, before I let you go, I have one last question here. So for some of our lactation professionals, doulas, IBCLCs, midwives, nurses out there who don't have the background as a speech and language
Yeah.
therapist, what little nugget of advice can you give them if they're new to this, maybe have an idea? Oh, yeah, that
Hmm.
sounds like, yeah, it could be related. There could be a connection. But what do I do now with this information?
Always look at the baby,
Hmm.
because that's what I learned, that a lot of people like tend to look more at the mother and the breast and the stuff around that, but
Hmm.
take a look at the baby. Take a look inside of the mouth. You have to look
Yeah.
inside of the mouth, or maybe feel if you are a bit more experienced, because some structures you can just feel and not see. But always take a really, really close look at the baby.
Mm, wonderful. Well, Lina, thank you so much for sitting down with me here
Thank
today
you.
and chatting. And it's lovely to have you here with us. And say hello and greetings to wonderful Hamburg here from me.
I will definitely.
And after the situation gets to a point where we can travel again,
Right.
I will come over and maybe we can get together then in
Yeah,
person
that
and
would be
talk more about the
great.
topic.
That would
Well,
be
thank you
awesome.
so much.
Thank you.
And for our viewers now, the presentation Breastfeeding as a Prevention Strategy for Speech and Language Disorders is part of our lecture pack of our Gold Lactation conference coming up here at Gold. And the conference gets started March 29th. This presentation will be live on April 19th. To find out more about this presentation and the other presentations in the Gold Lactation Conference of 2021, please visit goldlactation.com. Thank you and bye everyone. And I hope to see you at the conference. Bye bye.